Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at something quite different. This is the JOYTOY Iron Wrecker 07 Space Operations Mecha. And I've been told for years now that I need to review some of these JOYTOY figures, these mech suits, I guess they're mechas, and I just haven't bothered because I'm not particularly into it. But I've been told so many times, I figured, okay, fine, I'll pick one that I think looks cool and I'll review it. So I picked this one. I love the, almost traditional spacesuit look with the white and then the gold dome. I think it's awesome. Love the look. There's lots of cool ones, though. There's like a ton of these things. So they look really, really cool, and they come in at a relatively reasonable price. So I figured, what the heck? We'll get one, we'll review it, and then people will stop asking. So it's going to be an interesting one. I'm pretty sure I'm going to catch a lot of flame for this, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before I show you the figure, I do want to show you my package, and it's a nice package. It's a little misleading, I would say, though. It's definitely like stylized artwork. It looks like they maybe took a render or the actual figure, but then did it like an overlay sort of thing that makes it look comic-y. And so that's fine, I don't mind that, but showing these electrical things really sells the figure, I think, in a way that's not quite fair. And then you have some kind of like almost blueprint sketches going on there. It tells you it has movable joints, so that's good. Fully hand-painted. We'll talk about the paint in a minute, and then it shows you the figure that comes inside it, and the suit a little bit more. A little bit of info. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, it's fine. More blueprinty type stuff. Decent package. There is a window on the front, so that's good. Photo there. Basic solicitation photo. We've seen that a bunch of times if you've seen any of the sites selling these, and then you can see the figure inside. So, pretty good. Nothing crazy, but a nice, solid package. Alright, so now we look at the actual product. I will say there's a lot of these up for pre-order and a lot of these available now at Big Bad Toy Store. I'll put a link to this one in the description below, though I'm going to tell you right now, I don't recommend you buy this one, but I'll do it in case you want to click on that. Then you can click on JOYTOY or whatever else you want to try to get to where you want to find something. So, I'm going to do the height up to here. I'm not going to include the gun turret. And so that's going to be about, let's call it 9.5 inches. And that's going to make it roughly 23.5 centimeters. Here he is up against a Marvel Legends Darwin. So definitely has some size to it. I think this guy came in at $100. And I'm pretty sure they have some that cost more and some that cost less. They seem to be priced based on the actual product rather than the line. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so question of the day. Are you into mech stuff at all? And if so, have you tried these? And if so, have you tried this one or other ones? And can you weigh in, please, on what I'm going to talk about over the next however many minutes this review is? So, things I liked about this line going into it. I think the designs are really cool. I don't love every single one, of course, but there's a lot of really cool mech suit designs, and I like the stylization of them overall. And then I like the paint job. The paint job's really cool. It brings it to life. There's paint basically everywhere. And it does look awesome. There's lots of decal type work. Look here, let's get a little bit tighter, I guess. There's lots of decal type work that's nice and clean. Then the rest has shading and some panel lining and stuff. And it just looks like the way you would want it to look. UNSC, that is Halo. It's not only a Halo, apparently. But yeah, lots of nice detail work throughout. It's pretty cool looking, I would say. So yeah, I was okay with it. I was halfway excited. You guys know, I don't tend to buy things I'm not into because I just have too much stuff already. But I figure, what the heck, it's cool. If it looks really good in hand, it'll be fun to add to the collection. So, aesthetically, I'm still thrilled. It looks really nice. It looks exactly the way I would want it to look. Paint everywhere makes it look awesome. A nice matte finish with some metallic parts. Very, very cool. I love the look. But I have to tell you, my experience with this figure has been nothing short of a nightmare. Now, of course, I'm being a little bit, I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but it's one of those action figures where it started bad from the very beginning. As soon as I opened up the front flap to look in the window, I saw that this leg was not connected. It was just laying across the front of the figure, and this hand was just bouncing around in the box. Now, that's because these figures are, I guess, there's some kind of interchangeability gimmick, or they're just made like crap, and they all use the same pegs. I don't know. I don't collect the line, but the hands are meant to come off. But it's not easy to do it. You have to try. But the hand was not connected. So, and then everything on this, all the connection ports are the same size port. So I'm guessing it's just meant to be like you can interchange them with other figures and things. That's my guess. I don't know for sure, but yeah, his leg and hand weren't connected. So I was like, okay, well, sometimes that kind of thing happens in shipping, whatever. I'll just put it back together and move on. So I did. And then I took it out of the package, and it is basically, it's hardly connected. There's a ball peg in there, but it's a tiny ball peg, and there is no retention. It could not be floppier without disconnecting. It is the floppiest little ball peg that holds up the entire upper body, which is fairly heavy, by the way. So in order for me to pose this thing, I have to lean it all the way back, which means it's going to fall over, or I have to lean it all the way forward, which means it has to be crunched up rather than exposing the abdomen. So that's already 3 strikes. But I said, let's soldier on. Let's carry on this review as if I'm not entirely irritated by this figure, because it still does look cool. I'll be honest, and I'll still say that if you want to get it and throw it on your shelf because it looks awesome, you can deal with the problems I've listed so far. In fact, I'll put this out front. You can deal with all the problems that I have with this figure, but the fact that you have to deal with them is super frustrating. So, let's continue. Most of the rest of the problems come in the articulation section, so we'll just talk about the aesthetic a little bit more. It's still gorgeous. It still looks really, really good, except for things like this, and this is the last thing I want to talk about in the aesthetic section. Some things, like this backpack here, have to be pegged on. This counts as an accessory, I guess. Looks like a generator, honestly. That's just connected to his back, but I cannot, with all of my man strength, get that to peg in. And I'm a large man, by the way, 6'5". Lots of muscle ability to peg in action figure parts. Been doing it my whole life, since I was a wee lad, and I can't peg this in. It won't go in any farther. And now, I cannot pull it out. Like, I haven't tried that hard because there's no real point in pulling it out, but I can't even pull it out. Like, I tried to pull it out a little bit to see if I could, like, readjust it to get it in farther. Nope, this sounds horrible, and I haven't even said that's what she said yet. Can't do it. Can't get it in farther, can't pull it out without risking breaking it, so I'm just stuck there, no pun intended. Alright, and then the other thing, which is a continuation of the same thing for the aesthetic, is we have this ammo belt here, which is supposed to peg into this, and then this is supposed to, like, you can leave it up or down. You can see this one's down. Let me zoom in a little bit. So this side, it's down, and then you can turn it up or down. It just tabs on, or pegs onto these pegs, or this peg right here. So you're supposed to slide this soft PVC piece in all the way to that opening so that you can close this back up, and it looks like the ammo is coming out of this. I guess it's an ammo drum, whatever. Cannot do it. I mean, maybe if I get some tools out and really, really start prying on that and pushing on it, but with my bare hands, I can't get it to go any closer than that. So that's just a really annoying thing that I have to get out actual tools to put this in. And the same thing is true for up here. Let me turn the camera. Where the belt connects up here. It connects to this piece that allows it to connect to the gun, and I can't slide it through there either. It's like, why is everything so difficult on that? And I'll continue the everything part as we move on with the review, but aesthetically, that's everything I can mention so far. So yes, it looks really good. You're going to have to finagle these things, and like I said, it can be done, but is an incredibly unpleasant experience. Okay, so aesthetically speaking, not counting the problems, 9 out of 10. Looks gorgeous. Really, really good. Counting the problems, like 6 or 7, if you're not able to fix them, you're kind of stuck. Posing this guy's a problem because of the ball peg, things like that. Alright, now I'm going to continue on slightly from the aesthetic and the comments I made about the box art to the accessories, because you get no effect parts. So this cannon up here, this gun, just has... Is it a hexagon? I can't tell, I'm too far away. Yeah, it looks like a hexagonal hole. There's no blast effect, there's no cap, there's no nothing. So that looks really goofy. And then also for the hands, I mentioned on the front, they showed that lightning effect or whatever you want to call it. Nope, just hexagon hole again. So no blast effects. So it looks unfinished. I don't know if they sell like effect parts or whatever, but that's lame, because there's none to come with it, and there's nothing to cap it or do anything, so the top cannon especially looks extra goofy. So accessory-wise, that sucks. Now, as far as other accessories go, you can remove basically everything down to the bare frame, so like all the white paneling, that all comes off. I don't know why you would ever want to do that other than to make it interchangeable. These things come off, his ass blasters come off, basically everything except for the main core and then like the gray, the silver underneath, that stays, of course. But everything else can come off. I don't know why you would do it, but it can. This, you get also this missile pod, which is pretty cool. I don't know where you're supposed to put it. It doesn't tell you where to put it, and it just has a couple of those peg holes in it, so I guess you can put it wherever you want. But I didn't find, like, if it was up here, that would be cool, sorta, you know? But there's no way to connect it that way. I can connect it this way so it sticks off to the side. So, yeah, that's a little bit goofy. Don't care for that. I guess you could put it, like, back here? I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do. Like, it's just weird. So whatever, there's that. You get some extra parts right here. These parts, doesn't matter what they are. They're just little parts. They're these kind of parts. And you get those, I guess, because you can make the gun arm however you want it to be. But that was another problem for me, because you have to assemble this with those parts. And these hexagonal peg holes that they have, they don't actually have any retention. They're just tight as heck. They're freaking tight. It was really a pain in the ass to put this whole thing together, and then it also doesn't move well because they're so tight. This one likes to pop off because all of this is tight. Maneuvering it feels like you're gonna break things. That one works okay. Rotation requires a lot of force, and like maybe they won't actually break depending on the plastic, but it's really not pleasant to maneuver this, and it was really unpleasant to put it together. And it's like, just assemble it yourself at the factory and actually have retention, not just be incredibly tight. So that was just really unpleasant. It was a very unpleasant experience. So now the last thing as far as accessories go, and I'm going to count him as an accessory, is you get the little man, which is pretty cool. It's very well detailed for the size. I'll show you him against Darwin. He is up to Darwin's, not even his waist. It's very, very tiny. I'll give you a height measurement on this guy. He stands only 8 centimeters high, so he's quite short. That's going to be about 3 1/8 inches. So he's very, very tiny. The details are actually really nice for how tiny he is. And you can also take his armor and things off if you want to. It's just a bare suit underneath. But you can do that if you want. So that counts as accessories. And then you also get some interchangeable hands, an unhelmeted head, and you get his pistol and his shotgun. Which, look, I mean, it's all pretty good. So as far as little people go, that's fine. Looks pretty good. So accessory-wise for this thing, if you count the little man, which I'm gonna do, it's like a 7 out of 10. But otherwise, there's no accessories. It's just parts of the body that you wouldn't want to remove. Like if you buy this as a standalone figure, you're not taking off his armor plate to replace it with other armor plates or things like that. So I don't get it. No blast effects, nothing useful other than the little man. So that's unfortunate if you ask me. Okay, so let's move on to the articulation. We already covered the gun arm a little bit. I'll cover the little man at the end, but let's start with the canopy. The canopy does open up. It's a little tricky to grab this one because it's just a round dome, but it does open up and you can fit the little man inside. He doesn't stand up or sit down. He's kind of in like a weird slouchy pose, but you have some details in there. The canopy has a few details at the top, but it's pretty basic in there. You're probably not going to do much with it other than, I guess, do a pose like in the solicitation photos. You have to open it up from the back to get the man inside, but if you have his backpack on back here, it definitely gets in the way. Even if you have it pegged in all the way, it'll get in the way. But you can see there is a decent amount. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. I'm using the wrong hand here, so I'm going the wrong direction. There's some decent detail in there, and it's fine. So that's okay, good. You have a space for your little man that you're never going to use. And this back piece, by the way, it's supposed to latch with this. It doesn't latch. I can't get this to press down, so it doesn't actually close ever. Not permanently, not properly. So yeah, just everything about this has been a problem so far. Let's see if the articulation works. The shoulders have a butterfly sort of thing. This part right here just rotates. Not the best looking bit, but it does work. And then you can rotate the arms around, of course, so that's fine. The joints aren't especially loose here, other than the bicep swivel is pretty loose, but it catches in spots, so that's okay. You do get your full hinge. So yeah, the arms move nicely, no problem there. You can see the armor is on a ball peg, so that'll help you pose that. Double jointed elbow, so you can bend the arm up to a little bit better than 90, but it's pretty chunky, so that's going to be a problem, of course. This will rotate, and these guys move. So it's not bad. Like, If this figure didn't have all of the nagging flaws that it has to make it incredibly unpleasant to handle, it would be great. So maybe the ones that are better, that don't have these problems, are great. But I don't have those, and it's not my fault that I picked this one because I liked the way it looked and they made it crappy. Now, I looked up on Amazon, coincidentally, after I got this to be like, what the heck? I wanted to see if there were any reviews, and there's not a ton, but it's all the things I've mentioned. The parts don't fit together for crap. Either they're way too tight or way too loose, and that's a problem. So for the waist, like I told you, it's just a ball peg, so it works fine. You get your rotation, and it's enough movement, but it's just too floppy. Too floppy. For the hips, you get your rotation. Of course, the armor can come off again, and they do wiggle around on these pegs. There's like a little bit of hinging going on. There's pegs right here, which you can't really do much with, but I guess with other figure parts, maybe you can give him knee pads. But yeah, the legs move around pretty well. If you move these thrusters back here, you can get the leg back even farther. Going out to the side, it's not the best, because the armor gets in the way, but it's got plenty of range. So yeah, you can definitely pose this thing if you wanted to, if it had a good reason to be posed. But for me, it's like, it's too many problems. I just don't enjoy it anymore. They ruined it for me. And you can say, well, I'm just being picky, but there's no way you guys haven't experienced that with a figure where you had such a bad experience that you don't even want it anymore. He does have extra peg holes too, but yeah, double jointed knees, so you can make him digitigrate if you wanted to, sort of. So that's kind of cool. And then for the ankles, they're pretty functional. They go pretty far forward, pretty far back, and then they do rotate. Not the best range for the rotation, but it's fine. So yeah, it's like I wanted to like this so much, and I still want to. I like the design. It still looks good. Still poses well enough, but there are so many problems. I'm gonna give the articulation a 7. It's pretty good for a mech suit. It's fine. These things can rotate and stuff, but it's like little things that don't really matter. And then this is just really, really obnoxious. So like I said, I want to like it, and I'm sure you JOYTOY mech people are like, it's a bad one, you picked a bad one, don't give it a bad review and turn people off. Well, it's not my fault. Tell them not to make a bad figure. Especially one like this that's kind of a traditional look that I'm guessing people are attracted to. I wanted to like it a whole lot. And I still do like the aesthetic, but it's so unpleasant to have around. It's so bad. Okay, so, I mean, for me personally. Alright, I wanted to do a little bit of a review on this guy before we go. Because he's got decent articulation for a little guy. Swivel hinge in the shoulder, ball peg for the head. Elbows are single swivel hinges, but then the wrists are actual ball hinges. It's so tiny, I can't really even show you properly. But he has little ball hinges in his wrists. It's so little. Ball peg in the torso. Hips are ball pegs. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee, and then ball hinges in the ankles. He's just way too tiny for me to do anything with. But for a little tiny guy like this, it's fine. It's really, really good. So I'll give him that. That's nice. But my final review for this thing is, it was so close to being an amazing experience that the negativity that it had inherent with it ruined it for me. You can't take something that's supposed to be great and looks like it's going to be great and then make it really unpleasant and expect me to want to have it. So as a collector, I don't want it at all. As a reviewer, I can say there's definitely potential. Look, this is open again. There's definitely potential. You can deal with the problems that this has, but you shouldn't have to. But maybe the other ones don't have those problems. I'll give this guy, if you're going to deal with the problems, I don't know, 7 out of 10 because you still have to deal with them. But otherwise, 5 or 6. It was so unpleasant. It's hard for me to describe. I was telling my wife, like, it's a weird combination of feelings because I was so excited for it on one hand, and then on the other hand, I was thoroughly disappointed and frustrated and irritated. So maybe you guys can relate. I don't know. But give me your input if you guys collect this line of figures. If you have this one, was yours as bad as mine? Do you have other ones that are better? Let me know what you think. But I'm done. I'm not going to try anymore with the line. They lost their chance. This put me off completely. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.